The moment his palm struck my little girl's face, his fate was sealed. That slap ended his freedom. Her whole body locked up. Her small hands floated up in surprise, her eyes huge with a shock so innocent it shattered my heart. Children see a uniform and think of safety. They trust the grown-up in charge. She was right by her bicycle, the one with tassels on the handlebars, helmet slightly askew, and this stranger wearing a polo shirt labeled HOA cop bent over and hit her. The impact wasn't meant to injure, it was meant to humiliate. I heard the sickening smack a fraction of a second before I processed the sight, a sound that should never exist in a child's world. My daughter reeled back, clutching her cheek, a cry of pure confusion tearing from her throat, and I was already moving. Right now, I want you to drop a comment and tell me where you're joining from. I want to see how far this lesson in consequences reaches. Because to grasp how a man could do this, you need to know what led us there. My name is David. I served for 12 years in the Marine Corps. I didn't choose that neighborhood for drama. I chose it for peace. After years of structured chaos and real responsibility, I craved stillness. I wanted a quiet cul-de-sac where my children felt safe playing, a place where my wife could relax on the front steps, where I could finally, truly stand down. That dream lasted a month. That's when Eleanor Vance took over the HOA board. She was all polished smiles and harsh ultimatums, a person who mistook power for principle, who saw rules as a hammer, not a guide. My family was a problem. We didn't attend the barbecues. I asked for clarification on vague bylaws. And our kids, they were too loud. Their sidewalk chalk was an eyesore. Their bikes were a hazard. I read the covenants. I highlighted every line. We broke 0 actual rules. That didn't matter to her. A week before it happened, she unveiled her Neighborhood Watch initiative. Overnight, we had private enforcers, not cops, just men in matching shirts with clipboards and a license to intimidate. I told Eleanor calmly that laying a finger on my kids was an uncrossable line. She gave me a cold, tight smile and said, "Compliance prevents confrontation," a perfect empty phrase. That afternoon, my daughter was pedaling on the sidewalk exactly where she was supposed to be, helmet fastened. The enforcer decided she was his teaching moment. Her cry of pain was the trigger, and as I sprinted across my lawn, a primal understanding clicked into place. This man believed he was just doing his job. What he'd actually done was sign his own warrant, and service was immediate. My training took over before my mind could form a single word. The patrolman turned, his mouth beginning to shape what was surely a pathetic excuse. He didn't get a syllable out. My first punch caught him squarely on the chin. It was a clean, hard shot that snapped his head back and scrambled his thoughts. He staggered, feet scrambling for traction on the asphalt. His hand went for the radio on his belt. I didn't allow it. I closed the space and rammed him against a sedan's fender. Metal groaned. The air rushed from his lungs in a pained grunt. "You do not touch my child," I stated, each word a stone. He tried to swing back, a clumsy, panicked haymaker. I deflected it easily and drove 2 hard punches into his side. I felt a rib shift. He wheezed, his legs buckling. As he tried to cover his head, I finished it. I grabbed his wrist, twisted, and used his own momentum to slam him onto the driveway. My knee pressed into his chest, pinning him. 2 more precise, controlled strikes to the jaw. His eyes rolled back. He went limp. He was out cold, shirt untucked. The cheap authority he wore was gone. I stood and stepped back. Then I heard her, the soft, hitched weeping. It was a deeper wound than any I had inflicted. I knelt, cradling her face, my thumbs wiping her tears, inspecting the red mark on her skin. "I've got you, sweetheart. Daddy's right here." "Stop! What have you done?" The shriek came from Eleanor. She was on her porch, phone clutched like a talisman, her face white. "You attacked a compliance officer!" I simply gestured to the man lying motionless on the concrete. "That," I said evenly, "is a criminal." She began to retreat. Neighbors were emerging now, phones raised, recording. My own porch camera, its little green light glowing, had witnessed it all. The assault, the response, the entire truth. I pulled out my cell. 911, send officers and medical. A man impersonating security just assaulted my daughter. The suspect is incapacitated. The dispatcher was all business. Sirens soon wailed in the distance, growing rapidly louder. I moved away from the unconscious man and lifted my hands, palms open. My daughter hid behind my leg, trembling. Eleanor looked around, utterly lost. One thing was obvious to every witness. This was far beyond a fine or a hearing. This was going to be a reckoning, and the video evidence would be judge and jury. If you're invested in this story of justice, stay with me. The impact, the fallout, is where it gets even more satisfying. The police arrived before Eleanor could compose herself. 2 cruisers, officers exiting with focused efficiency. They assessed the scene, the downed man, my terrified child, the frantic HOA president. I remained still and silent. The evidence spoke for me. One officer immediately crouched to speak softly to my daughter. Another checked the patrolman's pulse and called for an ambulance. When he pulled back his shirt to see the makeshift badge, his expression turned flat. "HOA cop?" he muttered. His partner shook his head. "That holds no weight here." Eleanor tried to intervene, babbling about authorization and neighborhood standards. An officer held up a hand, cutting her off, and asked for her identification. Then they reviewed the footage, my security feed, a neighbor's doorbell camera, multiple angles, crystal clear audio of the slap and my daughter's cry. Case closed. The fake officer woke up in the ambulance. Broken ribs, a fractured jaw, missing teeth. He rode to the hospital in cuffs under guard. He was charged with battery on a minor, felony child endangerment, impersonating a public official, and trespass. After recovering, he accepted a plea deal, 25 years in a state correctional facility, mandatory counseling, and permanent inclusion on an offender registry. As for Eleanor, she wasn't spared. The investigation dug up her digital trail, emails authorizing physical persuasion, texts urging strict enforcement. She was charged with conspiracy, child endangerment, and misuse of authority. She received a 12-year sentence, was removed from the HOA, and a civil suit awarded my family a significant settlement for emotional damages. The HOA itself folded under the legal and financial pressure. As for my little girl, the physical mark faded fast. The fear took longer. But she rides her bike again now, tassels flying, her smile finally returning. And every time I see that spot on the driveway, I remember. A badge doesn't grant honor, and a parent's love has no limits. Titles can be printed on shirts. Real authority is earned through justice, and if you ever strike a child, be prepared to face the wrath of the protector you forced to appear. If you believe in standing up for what's right, support this channel, hit that like button, and follow Trending Tales Pulse for more powerful stories of accountability.